Hi, I wanted to share a few thoughts about labeling. Well, being able to acquire knowledge is an important part of being able to get through our lives successfully. And one of the main ways in which we acquire knowledge is by accessing information sources such as books, websites, what have you. So it's bad if our access to these sources is restricted in any way, for example, by censorship. But of course, censorship isn't the only way that access can be blocked. For instance, certain labels that we might put on a book might very well deter people from accessing that information in that book. For example, if the label says, this book is disgusting or this book is inaccurate, then it's probably less likely that certain people are going to access that book. But while labels can be bad, labels can also help people to access information and to gain knowledge. In fact, we regularly label books for precisely this purpose. Most notably, we label books with subject headings. For example, we might label a book as being about architecture or about library science or about baseball, and this helps the people that want to access information on those subjects find the information that they want. But it's also important to note that even subject headings can deter access. For example, as I mentioned in the lecture, Holocaust, Errors and Inventions used to be a library subject heading, and you can imagine that if that label's on a book, people might think twice about deciding to read it. So for this reason, the ALA wants to limit labeling to what it calls, quote, viewpoint neutral directional aids. However, it strikes me that there also may be a place in libraries for what you might call evaluative labels. And to cite just one example, I might very well want to find books that have won a particular literary prize. And what a literary award or literary prize is somebody's positive evaluation of that work. And so it seems like the ALA injunction on labeling rules out having this sort of label on a book. And it seems like there's good reason to think that people actually want this sort of labeling or this sort of metadata on books when they're deciding whether or not to read those books. Why else do people so often go read the reviews on Amazon before deciding whether to read or buy a book? And it's also worth noting that some groups of librarians actually endorse evaluative labeling in certain cases. For instance, the Protocols for Native American Archival Materials suggest that we might want to put a label of the following sort on a book. Such and such a tribe finds information in this work inaccurate or disrespectful. And as a reader, speaking only for myself, I would certainly value that sort of label on a particular work. Now, even if there are reasons to label books, there may be reasons not to put a physical label on the books. For instance, just like somebody who's planning to go to a movie might not want you to ruin the ending for them, a potential reader of a book might not want to have the librarian or anybody else prejudge what they should think about that book. So what we might want to do is make these virtual labels that potential readers only have to access if they want to. And in fact, subject headings that are assigned by librarians are not actually on the book. They're only in the catalog record. I don't have to actually look at them if I don't want to. So there's, of course, much more to say on this topic about labeling, good or bad, but I just wanted to make a few points today in favor of evaluative labels. Thanks very much.